And welcome back to SFL Nights with AJ Striker. Thank you so much for joining me today or tonight or whenever you decided to click the play button. I really appreciate you guys. So, I have a great podcast for you. Little SFLm week review, week 5 review to be exact. Then I have wonderful interviews with some Madison Linx members and a Portland Fleet member. I have Mr. Derrick Majors, quarterback for the Madison Linx, as well as Mike Tinscrew, wide receiver for the Linx, on with me. And then I have Mr. Nelson Lonzano from the Portland Fleet. So, awesome guys. I really enjoyed this podcast. I really enjoy any podcast that I do that I'm meeting new people and basically helping them to showcase their talents and showcase who they are. So, awesome. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. All right, and we are back with SFLm Week 5 review. And, oh man, there were some upsets, there were some heartbreaks, some triumphs, and some ego boosts this week. The game took place on Wednesday, as it always does, on our YouTube page. Check out Simulation FL on YouTube. I will also leave that link in the description for us. And, I make my guesses, as usual. All of my guesses were wrong. Every last one of them. So, yes, I was all wrong this week about everybody last week as I picked. I guess all of the winners, of this week said, hey, Ashley, we showed you. So you did. So congratulations, guys. But this is how everything went down. So the Mud Dogs took on the Navigators, and the Mud Dogs won 23-13. So passing for the Mud Dogs was 200 yards. Their rushing was 52, and they had 252 total yardage. Time of possession was 22 minutes and 44 seconds with 2 turnovers. The Navies had 216 yards passing and 96 yards rushing, 312 yards total. Their time of possession was 20 minutes and 21 seconds, 3 turnovers. Player of the game was Mr. Rosca Santagria, cornerback. Had 1 interception. He had 1 touchdown, 2 tackles, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 tip. All right, Rosca, I see you. You said she was going to make a difference, and that she did. Congratulations to the Mud Dogs. And the Madison Linx took on the Albuquerque Adams, and the Linx won 17-10. The Linx had 210 yards passing, 103 yards rushing, and 313 total yards. Their time of possession was 23 minutes and 59 seconds, 1 turnover, while the Adams had 136 yards passing, 165 yards rushing, 301 total yards. They held the ball for 19 minutes and 58 seconds with 1 turnover. I mean, the Adams didn't have the ball very long, and that would definitely make a difference, even though both teams had 1 turnover apiece. Time of possession will definitely make that difference. Player of the game was Halfback Ezekiel Love. 22 attempts, 103 yards, 1 touchdown, and 28 reception yards. Congratulations to Mr. Love and to the Madison Linx. And they were on the podcast. Actually, they're on this podcast. So I don't know if that has something to do with the fact that certain teams win once they're on this podcast. I don't know. It's just been happening. So. Then the Flight took on the Fuel, and the Fuel won 20-34. And a dominating performance, might I say. The Flight had 281 yards passing, 44 yards rushing, and 325 total yardage. Time of possession, they held the ball for only 16 minutes and 35 seconds with 1 turnover. Like I said, that time of possession would kill you. The Fuel had 319 yards passing, 65 yards rushing, and 384 total yards. The time of possession was 27 minutes and 25 seconds. You see what I mean? Big difference. And 1 turnover. Player of the game was Cario Martinez. And he's a halfback with 30 attempts, 69 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 42 reception yards. And finally, the Cavalry battled the Rattlesnakes, and the Rattlesnakes won. Cavalry lost their first game. Cannot believe it. But hey, Lincoln, they went to the gym and they worked out really hard to get that one. So the Rattlers had 266 yards passing, 66 yards rushing, 332 yards total. Time of possession was 27 minutes and 46 seconds, while they had 2 turnovers. And the Cavalry had 211 yards passing, 152 yards rushing, 363 yards total. Time of possession was 21 minutes and 55 seconds and 1 turnover. Player of the game was J.Q., quarterback. Quarterback for the Rattlers. He had 29 completions out of 43 attempts, 266 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 3 rushing yards. So congrats to all the teams that won. Better luck to all the ones that were defeated. And speaking of which, we have picks for week 6. So on Wednesday, the 27th, starting at 2 p.m. on our YouTube channel, as I mentioned earlier, we will have the Adams taking on the Cavalry. And Adams, don't get mad at me, but I'm going to choose the Cavalry to win. I think that both of you guys lost this week, and I think that both of you have something to prove right now. I'm saying the Cavalry because they do have just a few more wins in their win column. And but Adams, please prove me wrong. Like I said, I came on this week saying I was wrong. I'll be happy to do it again. So at 4 p.m., the Fuel will be taking on the Nabbies. And I'm going to go with the Fuel on this one. I think that the Fuel are kind of on a roll right now. And I think they're just going to hit the Nabbies hard offensively. And we're going to see if I'm right. Let's see. At 6 p.m., the Mud Dogs will be taking on the Lynx. And I'm going to go with, both teams actually won this week. So I think I'm going to go with the Lynx on this one. They have a slight edge with their quarterback, I think. And I just think that they have that fuel and that fire to at least win by 3 or 7 points. But again, I could be wrong. Lastly, we have the Rattlesnakes taking on the Flight. And I'm going with the Flight on this one. I think that they are going to do what they have to do to get this win, because if I'm not mistaken, they've lost a few in a row, and they started off their season winning a lot, and now it's kind of turned. So I think they're going to find what they're missing and actually enact it. So, but I hope that you're enjoying the podcast so far. Please stay tuned for Fourth and Goal interviews coming up right now. And welcome back to my Fourth and Goal interview. I actually have a few of my Madison Linx on tonight. I'm really excited about that. One of them is Mr. Mike Tinscrew of the Madison Linx, wide receiver at that. How you doing?
I'm good, AJ. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Anytime. I'm glad that you're here. So, since this is your first time on the podcast, give us a little overview of yourself. Who are you, and age, hometown, maybe some interesting facts about yourself.
We don't want to talk about age.
Come on now.
We've already been through all that. I'll say mid to late 40s. We'll go with that.
Okay.
I'm from Crystal, Minnesota. Right now I live in Virginia Beach. Out here, still stationed in the Navy. Been in the Navy almost 28 years, so I'll be retiring here in a couple of months. Looking forward to that.
I bet. You have a lot of servicemen in the league with you. You guys have been...
Yeah, we got our own little channel. We talk a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. So tell me, have you ever played sports?
I started playing football for Park and Rec when I was in 2nd grade.
Okay.
And played up through 9th grade. Then I switched high schools and switched over to hockey.
Okay. So what did you like better?
Football. Absolutely football.
Got it. So tell me, how did you find us?
Flipping through the channels one night, saw it on 11 Sports. It was probably late January. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, was that week 9 or something like that? I think it was.
Okay. And do you remember the first game that you watched, or how did it make you feel when you watched it?
I don't remember what the teams were, but saw it. And as they said, hey, what you're looking at, you're seeing us, go sign up. And I went right to the computer, signed up, did my subscription that night, and have been here since. So looking forward to playing for sure.
Wonderful. And so you are playing in for the Madison Linx as a wide receiver. How are you enjoying that experience?
It's fantastic. I love it. We got some great coaches in Berto and Jacob and Jaden, really putting things together for us.
All right, fantastic. So what do you think about your personal performance?
I'm good with it. We got to spread the ball. We got to get everything around. We got a couple of wins now. We're on a roll. We got the Adams this week, so looking forward to that game. It'll be a fun one.
Definitely. So what are your future aspirations in the league? Do you plan on being a scout? Do you want to join the beat team? Do you want to be a broadcaster? What do you want to do?
Well, I'm scouting now for the Lynx.
Okay.
So I'll stick with that if I go to a team. And really any job on the team that the team needs, definitely discuss it. I got some limitations, but would definitely discuss it. The B team, I've messaged Ray about it. And so, yeah, I definitely want to be more involved than just sitting and watching my player on the TV or on the computer.
Okay, I meant to ask you earlier, have you ever, you did say that you played sports before.
Yep.
And football, what was your position in football?
Mostly defense. Younger, we're kind of all the same size, things like that. I was on the D-line. But for most of the years, 6th grade to 9th grader, so I played linebacker.
Okay, so why didn't you choose that as your build for your player? Because I know some people chose, they played football when they were younger. They normally chose the position that they played when they were younger. Right.
So as I started doing my check-ins, we put our positions that we wanted on there. So mine was wide receiver, safety, and linebacker. And I just got picked up for the wide receiver, which is cool too.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So what are your expectations from the team that drafts you?
Hopefully they already have some real good chemistry in the team locker room. Definitely want to join in with that and with the team that has that good chemistry. Hopefully that the coaches and the players can have good conversations, games, and just discussing what's going on with the team and the games and things like that. And then help me be a better player and a person in the SFL.
Okay. All right. Now, how do you handle trash talk and adversity? Because you're gonna there's gonna be a time where you're gonna lose, and people are gonna be talking about it. How are you gonna handle that?
Hey Jay, I've been in the military for 28 years. We don't do nothing but trash talk.
Oh, okay.
I love some trash talk, and as long as people can handle it and deal with it, and give it and take it and things like that, then it's all good. But we got to know our limitations sometimes for whoever we're talking to, and just go from there.
Very true. Very true. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, in the SFL and in life?
Well, I'll start with in life. Getting ready to retire here in a couple of months. I'm just going to hang out at the house probably and run my own little business that I got going on. Maybe go out and get a part-time job or something. Welcome to Lowe's. That's about it. I don't need to do much because of the retirement that I'm going to have from the military.
Gotcha.
As far as the SFL goes, I would already love to jump into some coaching whenever that is available to me. I know there's some time restrictions on that and things like that. Definitely some coaching and learning more. Maybe step into a GM job sometime.
Okay, so if you were selected as a coach, what would be your coaching philosophy?
I think that Be probably defense.
Okay.
Really doesn't matter. I'll take either one, but a defense coach and probably pretty aggressive.
Okay. So your philosophy would just to be aggressive with the ball, and stopping and.
Yep.
Okay.
Stopping, run, stop.
Nice. All right. So tell me, who's your favorite NFL team, or if you have one?
Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. I mean, I could have guessed that, but then I have been surprised on the podcast before where.
Yep.
The person said they lived in New York and they were a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and he knows who he is.
Right. Vikings.
All right, cool. So, you think we're going to have some football this year?
I hope so. You know, I mean, but it's got to be safe. I'm high risk at catching this COVID thing, so I haven't left the house anyway.
Okay.
So I'm real big on being safe, especially with those people with any conditions, you know what I mean? Everybody hopefully is staying safe out there.
Definitely. You have to, because whether it's you know, you may be strong enough to fight it off, but, you know, whomever you're around, they may not be. So just something to think about, you know.
Well, hopefully we have some football. I mean, baseball's getting ready to start up, it sounds like. Had NASCAR today, so, you know, we're getting there.
So what do you think about the crowdless sports? Yeah, I saw a UFC fight a couple days ago, and it was weird because you saw the fighters, you saw the trainers wearing masks, and then you saw the fighters and the young lady that walks around with the sign. Like, they didn't have a mask on, but there was no crowd. So how do you feel about that? Like,
well, it is weird.
Yeah.
Very weird. You know, I've watched a couple of things on, you know, some wrestling matches or whatever. I have the TV. I don't really watch the TV, but I have it on in the background, just some noise, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'll throw some wrestling on, and it's kind of funny to see them doing their same things without a crowd. You know, trying to hype up the crowd and things like that. It's entertainment. But with the crowds not being there again, it's being safe and it's the right decision.
Absolutely. But we got SFL.
That's right. We got some SFL.
Right. Absolutely. So, and that doesn't stop. So, but it was a pleasure having you on, Mike. Please come back whenever you want to. I like to, when you get drafted, whichever team that drafts you, I would love to have you back on the show, you know, to get your experience in that, because that's a whole nother beast. Just waiting for your name to be called and, you know, sitting there within that anxiety and stuff like that. It's awesome. So
cool. No, I'd love to be on anytime.
Awesome. So what I'd like to do for my guests is give you the last word. That could be a shout out, that could be a poem, that could be a song, whatever you want to do right now. The floor is yours.
I'll go with the shout out. Again, the shout out to the coaches for the Lynx, Berto, Jacob, and Jaden. Some of the guys on the team, Derrick Majors, that's my quarterback. DJ Hume, PD, Koss, Zeke, and Kat. You know, we're having a good time. We're getting some wins, things like that. And then a shout out to the SFLm and the people running it. I know it's new, and I know they got some challenges that they're trying to work through, and they're listening to us rookies right now complain about a lot of things. So hats off to them too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Good luck in your games, and I'll be watching.
Thanks, AJ. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Bye. All right, and we are back with part 2 of my 4th and Goal interviews with the Madison Linx. I do have with me on the line Mr. Derrick Majors, quarterback for the Madison Linx. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Doing wonderful. Great to hear your voice again, because you've been on the show before, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. You know, I had to take the opportunity to get back going. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. But back then you were not on a team. Now you are. We're going to talk about that in a second. But for those who didn't get a chance to actually listen to that podcast, give us a little overview about you, like your name, age, hometown. If Derrick Majors is not your real name, you can choose to give us your real name if you like to. If not, that's cool too. But like age, hometown, and some interesting facts about yourself.
All right, well, yeah, my real name is Derrick Majors, actually, so that's what I go by. From Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, And that's pretty much really much it. I actually play real football, so I've been doing that pretty much in my time.
So you say you play real football. What position do you play?
I play actual quarterback, yes. So everything I'm doing in a simulation league, I'm doing that in real life. So this is 100%.
Oh man, that's amazing. That is amazing. So you really get into it when you see yourself on the field then.
Oh yeah, it's so exciting, honestly, and it's been like, a long time waited, just being out there and seeing how the way I perform. The competitor in me wish I can go out there and be perfect, but it's just like the real life. It's just like real life. You're gonna have your hiccups, but as long as you put in the work week in and week out, then game day, you'll be fine.
Fantastic. So tell us about the first game you ever saw, and how did you even find the SFL anyway?
Well, I was a part of a few other, simulation leagues that, that it wasn't quite as like this. It was like seeing you controlling your players, it's more so you control the team. And, I just wanted, a different type of style.
Okay.
This will happen. This was the first thing that popped up on Google. And, I checked out the website and I was like, wow, what is this? I played also 2K8 plenty of times on Xbox 360, so, I'm familiar with the game. And once I went on YouTube, I saw, I believe it was the Chicago-Seattle regular season game. It wasn't meaningful or anything like that, but, I realized that, it's not Jerry Rice or Joe Montana, any one of these players. These are actual real players that, that's on this field. How do I get a part of it? And, I definitely did my research on it. And, I got hooked, so I definitely stayed part of it day one since I found it.
Wonderful. We're glad that you found us, man. And you and Mike came at a really good time during the SFLm, major leagues to be able to actually play, because when I first started, we only had one game to showcase our talent. And if you didn't make it happen then, you guys have basically, you alternate, right?
Yeah, basically, it's funny because I joined at the time where the rookie showcase, where you just explained, was like, that was the format basically. Yeah. And, at first I was thinking like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. It's like, that's cool to be able to showcase what you can do out there. You can't really control them, but that's pretty cool. And then once I found out about the minors, I thought, that's even better, because, you're going to get so much, that's so much better for the guys that, giving opportunities for the women and that, that's joining and being able to showcase what they can do. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And as far as alternating goes, as you talk about the roster, as far as, who plays and who doesn't play.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically, so if you have a star player, so like, in our case, Madison, we have 2 star running backs. Mm-hmm. So each week we alternate one of them in. We got Captain Coral, and then we have Ezekiel Love. Mm-hmm. Ezekiel Love is basically the starter, but then Captain Coral comes in and both of them play Madison. So I'm pretty sure in Lincoln they have 2 different quarterbacks, so they alternate different positions. So that's basically just to give guys the opportunity to showcase what they can do.
Okay, gotcha. So how have you been doing, as quarterback of the Madison Linx? Like, are you enjoying the way you built your player? Is there any improvements that you want to see? Give us a little overview of that.
I definitely, the way that I build them is definitely the way that I play in actual, in real life, in a way. So seeing him on the field is like, wow, I'm actually looking at myself right now. But I definitely, there's definitely a lot of things that you want to work on, especially being a rookie. As far as what you're seeing out there on the field, and the mistakes that you making out there, and that's basically all that I pretty much learned. It just, you just have to get better and better every time what you do. So that's pretty much just being consistent out there. It's a lot of parts that I can't, but but as far as what I'm looking at there every week, it's just fun. Being in the locker room also with those guys, that's just like, it's an amazing locker room to be around. So even if we win, it's definitely, it's just exciting going out there watching, what's out there on the field.
Okay, so do you have your stats with you?
Yes, I do actually. So it's not the greatest, but I am second in the league, in passing.
Okay.
I have 881. I'm very efficient throwing the ball as well. But I'm leading the league in sacks, which is not pretty good. I'm pretty sure I'm leading the league in interceptions thrown, and only have 2 touchdowns past the season. It's not pretty, but as far as I know, it's just the way that we started off during the year. Just first game jitters, and then second game, we were saying what we could do, and making sure that we can see what we can do out there on the field to help us win. And then, these past 2 weeks, we definitely stepped it up. I still have a few more turnovers that I would like, but I assumed that we're going to get better, down the line. So we're going to keep playing and keep going out there and giving them all, and make sure that we can go out there.
And you will. The longer you play, and as long as you are spending your points on things that you know that you need help with, like read coverage, things of that nature, then you will definitely be fine.
So it's funny because when I first did my build, when you think about it, like what I was thinking about, I was thinking more so, I'm going to make my guy like the best guy that I can, like that I could possibly make him. I'm thinking that it could be like I'm playing Madden in a way, but I have to be really smart about the points that I use so I can be able to produce out there, actually produce better out there on the field than just going out there and thinking that I'm just going to dominate. So it's definitely been an eye-opener, like to say the least. I'm thinking that it's definitely going to be a different type of game, but there's a lot of guys out there in this in the minors that that's balling out, and it definitely shows. And like I said, and I'm a competitor, so no matter what, it's always exciting to go out there every different to play up against so much talent. So it'll definitely show what type of player that you're going to be able to put out there.
Okay. And what are your expectations from the team that drafts you?
My expectations is basically, to be committed to winning. I'm going to say that, from day one, I want to win. And I understand that there's, if you're part of a rebuild, then it's going to take time, but at the same time, I never want to be contained in a situation where as far as, we're going to have to get this done first before we can be able to be, I want to be able to, give it our all every single week, no matter what. 0-5, 5-0. I just want to make sure that every game is a different game. We never go out there with the mindset that, hey, we're going to settle for this. We want to go out there and I'm not gonna anything but lose. Basically, that's all I'm going to say. And if we do lose, then we're going to make sure that never experience that again. So that's the type of mindset I want to bring. That's the type of mindset I always want to anything or to anything that I do. So I just want any team to know that I'm committed to whatever we do. But as long as it's about winning and being able to post that choice for that at the end of the season, then I'm all for it.
All right, fantastic. Do you see yourself being involved in the league in any other capacity besides playing? Do you want to be like a beat writer? Do you want to join the stats team or broadcast team, anything of that nature?
Yeah, I want to be a part of this league in any way that I can. I love to write, so at some point I do want to start off as far as beat writer. Even if it's for a certain team, like to start off. That'd be definitely awesome. I would definitely love to broadcast a few games, get that under my belt. And then ultimately just end up coaching and then finally owning the team. So I definitely want to be a part of the league. This is just only a start.
All right. So really quickly, what would be your coaching philosophy and style if you were chosen to be a coach of your own team?
I feel since I'm an actual player and, I know the game, I feel like I'll be more of a player's coach. At the same time, that would gain trust with them. But at the same time, I want them to see me as like a guy that really loves his game and definitely want to put his all into his game. To be known for winning. That's what's most important basically. So, that's why I see myself as I'm not I'm not gonna yell at you or anything like that. I understand that you make mistakes, but at the same time, we gotta understand what we're playing this game for, and that's definitely what I want to bring.
All right, fantastic. And so, do you have a favorite NFL team?
Oh yeah, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan.
Oh, okay. I think you and Ross Napoli are Cincinnati Bengal fans. I actually alluded to him in the interview I was doing with Mike because I couldn't understand, like, how is he a Cincinnati Bengals fan, but he doesn't live in Cincinnati. He lives in New York.
Oh, like I said, it's, being from Chicago, me personally, me being from Chicago, I just haven't been always a Bears fan. Me growing up, when I started watching football, the Bears wasn't actually pretty good. I mean, the Bengals wasn't actually pretty good either, but, I feel like the Bengals just, I don't know, I just feel something more attractive to the Bengals than, I'm pretty sure it was the helmets. I'm pretty sure it was like, Chad being Chad Johnson, and that's like my favorite player anyway, so, it's like, I definitely have my reasons for it, but I mean, I think they're going to win a Super Bowl in the next year. So that's just me.
I was curious because, I'm actually a Falcons fan and a Bears fan, and I was wondering.
Really?
Yes, but I'm from Atlanta, so that's why I love the Falcons.
I can sit here and talk football with you all day.
That would be cool, and maybe I should do a podcast where we do that,
That'd be awesome, but I just have to say this, Julio Jones is really like one of the greatest wide receivers I've ever seen in my life.
Oh man, I love Julio.
I'm just going to put that out there right there.
I'm telling you, man, I just wanted them to be a little bit better than they were. I feel like we always get right there, and then something happens, and we muck it up. So.
Sorry, it's coming from a quarterback. You probably, it's just what I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. It's just Matt Ryan. He already hit his ceiling. The MVP season, he hit it already. Like that's the most you're gonna get out of him, and that's to say because, like I said, he has the greatest wide receiver in the game at this point. Well, of all time right now. So that sucks, but that's what I see out of him. And unless if he's not gonna be where he was the MVP season, then you're gonna get 8-8. You're gonna get 7-9. You're gonna get what you've been getting. So it's gonna be time. If they go 7-9 this season or 8-8, they're gonna go and try to get a quarterback. They're gonna trade up for a quarterback.
I mean, something has to give because all these little tiny misses and everything, as a fan, you roll with your team, but at the same time, it's gonna be like, okay, you guys are professionals, so something needs to be done. So, but hey, this is wonderful. I'm so glad that you came on the podcast. Thank you so much. It's one more question I wanted to ask you. How do you handle trash talk and adversity?
How do I handle trash talk and adversity? Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to sit here and say that I feed into it. Yeah. I kind of don't, but at the same time, I do talk my own trash. I say what I want. But, I let my game back it up. But if we're losing anything like that, then, they have their right. They have to say what they say. They have their time. But, 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure it's going to be me that's sitting there saying a little slick thing, back it up. So,
yeah.
If they're going to say a little thing if I know it.
Exactly. Well, it was a pleasure having you on, man. You, of course.
I'll be a little bit confident with you.
Anytime. And you can come back whenever you want to. After you get drafted, I would love to have you on, just to give your experience about that because that's going to be awesome.
I appreciate that.
Anytime. So, but I would like to give you the last word. So that could be a shout out, that could be a poem, that could be a song, anything that you want to do at this moment. The floor is yours.
The only thing I'm going to say is, like I said, I appreciate you for having me on again. It's always nice talking to you. And for all you people that's out there that's looking for something to do, make sure if you're looking for, a league to join that's close-knit family that's looking for the same goal, then you definitely should join the SFL. But also check out our games on this coming Wednesday. The Madison Linx play. We're at Albuquerque Adams. That's at 2 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern time. Links up.
So, how do you feel about that game?
It's going to be a tough one. Albuquerque, they're a tough team. Their defense is pretty good. They have some good corners on their side. So, but I feel like our receivers are better, and we're going to be able to make plays. So, but we'll see. It's going to be a tough one, but I think we can get it done.
You can, but do me a favor. I need you to start getting out the way, okay? Stop taking so many sacks.
I'm telling myself, just take off. The real media will take off, but, I'm going to talk to my OC about that.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for being on the show, and you have a good night, sir.
All right, you too. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anytime. All right, and we are back with my final 4th and Goal interview for the night. And I'm here with Mr. Nelson Lonzano, Portland's Fleet GM. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm going to be honest with you. I almost forgot your name for a second. Just for a second.
It's okay. I hear it all the time from lasagna to Lorenzo. It's Lozano.
Lozano.
Yeah.
Okay. That almost sounds like Italian.
Yeah, it comes from like this Italy, like the tip of Italy into that region, that area from Luciano. Mm-hmm. And it kind of branched off with time once everybody started migrating out into the Americas. It originated from Luciano and it became Lozano.
Okay. A little history. I like it.
Yeah, that's the benefit of 23andMe.
Ah, perfect. See, now we need to start doing some commercials so we can make some money, man. Come on.
Exactly. They should support us, right?
Exactly. All right. Well, since this is your first time on the show, tell us a little bit about you, like your name, your age, hometown, a little bit of interesting facts about yourself, too.
Oh, yeah. So, again, my name is Nelson Lonzano. My age, I'm 30 years old. The hometown, I'm actually from Hyattsville, Maryland. Spent a lot of time between Hyattsville, Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, and Los Angeles, California. So I moved around a couple times. But my hometown is Hyattsville, Maryland. And some interesting facts. I am an avid comic book collector, huge Redskins fan from being from this area. And, if I can think of anything, maybe a really interesting fact, I'm double jointed in one of my toes, and that's the only part I'm double jointed. I don't have double jointed hands and nothing else. It's just like this one toe that's double jointed.
That's crazy. Well, thank you for sharing that.
No problem. It's a fun fact to know about me.
Definitely. So tell me, have you played sports?
Yes, I played a couple sports growing up. I played football. I played basketball. Nothing too crazy. I didn't go into college or anything like that. But I did play when I was in high school and in middle school, and I played in a couple when I was a kid. So sports like that. And I actually played rugby as well when I was a kid.
Rugby? How was that experience?
It was new. Being a real big football fan, you see the parallels, but there is a lot of differences and nuances to the game. And it was something really new and exciting. It was something that they were really trying to share out there because rugby wasn't big in the Americas, to kind of get kids early exposure to it so it can kind of grow into the sport that, here. Mm-hmm. But it was a lot of fun. It was great things, great things to learn, and there was other kids learning with me as well. So it was a very, very good experience.
Gotcha. So you mentioned earlier that you moved around a lot. How was that? Because you were in the service? Was that because you were just a traveler? Did you want to share that with us? Of why?
Yeah, of course. Trust me, I tell everybody about me and what I'm about. And I moved around a lot because my parents divorced. Mm-hmm. My parents were young parents, so when they divorced, I had to move wherever they decided to move to. And
gotcha.
I moved to Los Angeles because I got in a lot of trouble here in Maryland. So my mother felt like it was best for me to move in with her and get myself straightened out, which I was able to luckily do. But it was LA was probably the biggest eye-opening, just because of the area and the culture and what you're able to expose yourself with. And I was able to really grow into a man and grow into a person that I am today, thanks to my mother. So even though my story might be a little bit sad on why I moved around so much, it was well worth it because I got to learn different upbringings and different experiences that, again, I will never give up for the world. And it's making me who the man I am today, and the person that I am today. And I really thank all my experiences and the opportunity to spend that time with my mother as well, which that was perfect because unfortunately my mother died when I was 21. No. But, because of her, I am exactly who I am today, and I'm happy for it. So it was all a learning experience, but it was well worth it. I'll never regret it, and I'll never change it for the world. I needed to go through that to be the person I am today.
Awesome, man. And you seem like you're a great guy, too. So she did a fantastic job with you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I'm pretty sure she would love to hear that, too.
Absolutely. Hopefully she does. Hopefully she did hear us. But, so tell me, I want to know about your first game. How did that experience make you feel? Well, first, tell me, how did you even find the league in the first place, and how did that make you feel?
Well, it's crazy, the connection, right? So I found the league through actually our current offensive coordinator, Mel Davis. Mm-hmm. Mel Davis, I actually know him. He is I met him because he actually is our veterinarian for my lovely children, my kids, right? Mm-hmm. And me and him have always talked every time I go take our dogs to go see him, and we'd always talk about football. We're big avid Redskins fans. And one day he came and he said, "Nelson, have you ever heard of the SFL?" I said, "The SFL? Do you mean the XFL?" He's like, no, not the XFL. I know the XFL. I'm talking about the SFL. And he went ahead and spoke to me about it and gave me the concept and everything. I said, that's really cool, right? And the way that me and Mel always connected was based on, Madden, right? I always explained to him how Madden, I actually would skip the whole season just to go to the off-season, where I got to pick up my free agents, deal with contracts, trades, and basically the draft to try to get the best opportunity possible. And I would sim those games just to get to that part and kind of, build my season up, right? Mm-hmm. So he was telling me how, this simulated football league, so take a look. So I took a look on YouTube. I loved everything about it, right? The presentation, the experience, everything was really, really neat. So I went ahead and contacted him and I said, hey, how do I get involved? So he got me to find the Discord channel. I'd never even used Discord in my life. Mm-hmm. So I had to get that and then understand the concept of servers. But I went ahead, jumped on there, and I gave my introduction, which was just sharing who I was as a person and, what I was about and, what I love in offense and what I love in defense and my future goal, which was to be a owner one day, of course. But, I wanted to be in that front office, really given that opportunity.
Okay.
Long and behold, I got contacted from New Orleans. New Orleans contacted me, asked me if I'd like to go as a non-contracted player to be one of their linebackers. Mm-hmm. And I jumped to the opportunity, and I was part of the scouting team there, and just got involved as much as I could. And again, the experience was unlike no other, right? You're not doing anything in a sense of playing the characters, the play on the field, but you are living it, the excitement. The first hit I ever got, man, I jumped up and I was like, man, this is exciting. And just knowing that that's who represents you, and you get to share that with the brotherhood of the rest of the teammates that you have, it was a really great experience, and I definitely do appreciate that. So mm-hmm. I ended up finding that as well.
Man, that's awesome. So you have played as a non-contracted player for New Orleans. And so, how were you picked up as GM of the Portland Fleet?
Well, basically, it was just kind of conversating with folks and just letting folks know what I wanted to be able to accomplish. And just getting to know Mel was part of the Denver Nightwings, and he made great relationships with Jacob and just introduced me because I wanted to learn more about the league, and Jacob has a wealth of knowledge. So we just hit off as friends and just conversated, and nothing about so much. It was about the SFL and growing in a sense of my player and understanding it more, but it was also creating that friendship. So when Jacob got the opportunity to become an owner, that's when he hit me up and said, Nelson, I would love for you to be a general manager. And the reason why, was just the aspect of what the understanding of a general manager is, and what I feel that position is, and how you can really make an impact. Hashtag right now, just kidding.
Nice.
How you really make an impact for everybody. And a general manager is to me the glue, right? You're the ones that help your coaches out and give them the tools and the resources to be successful, right? They have their systems. They have exactly what they're needing. As a general manager, it's your job to cater to them and ensure that they have those pieces and they have those players that they feel 100% confident in to do what they need them to do. And then I'm also that glue amongst the owner, right? So working with Jacob and working as a collaborative organization to ensure that we have the right pieces, we have the right people, we are presenting our brand properly and really showing that, showing the organization in a very positive and strong light. And that's why I wanted to be a GM. And it's also to create the experience for the players. As a GM, you're responsible for how the players are on and off the field, how their progression is going, how they feel involved with the team, and those are critical pieces to ensure the retention of your players going into the following season. So I felt like this position was something that, again, I do parallel in the real world. I'm a assistant store manager of a Best Buy. So these are things that I do on a regular basis, and I have that understanding, and I understand how, I want to develop and grow players and really build a strong culture amongst our locker room, and as well as a strong brand amongst the league.
Fantastic. All right, so Nelson, tell me, are you just the GM of your team, or do you plan on becoming a player or doing anything else?
That's a really nice question, because I actually just was announced not too long ago as the tight end for our team. And I'm looking at you, right? The ability to build a player that represents you on the field, and that excitement when you're able to do a play that really helps the team out was the reason why I decided to go tight end and switch from being a linebacker to a tight end. Because, again, I was always inspired by Tony Gonzalez, right? Being a Hispanic male and watching football, he's always been one that I could connect with, and understanding that, it was possible if I really wanted to do that. So I felt like a good homage to that was to play tight end.
Wonderful. And actually, Tony Gonzalez is my favorite tight end. I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan and a Bears fan. So, Hall of Famer right there. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good person to model after.
Thank you. He's a good person too, on and off the field, and that's something I admired as well. So
I actually met him. I used to serve at.
Great guy, right?
Yeah, he is. I used to serve at Maggiano's Little Italy, and he came in one day with his family. Very nice guy, really tall. Jesus, I didn't realize how big he really was. And on TV is one way, but then when you see him in person, it's like, oh man. Wow. But yeah, really nice guy. His wife was beautiful, children are beautiful. So yeah, it was a great experience. So yeah, you picked a good one there.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anytime. So what is your future aspirations in the league? So do you want to do anything else, like own a team, or do you want to be a part of the beat writing team? Do you want to explore broadcasting, anything of that nature?
So I would love to be an owner one day, and I feel like GM would be a really good opportunity to learn. I know a lot of folks don't know me because I was a rookie, non-contracted rookie, and I know my name might not have been out there as well as, others, but again, one thing that I'm going to tell you is I do want to own a team one day.
Okay.
I understand that position and what you can really do with that. And just like the GMO, like I explained, the reason why I took it is because I can understand how much that plays a factor and how much you can really affect your organization as well as the league in this position. And I would love to do things like this as well. I have my own podcast. I'm working on our YouTube channel now for the Portland Fleet. and getting that situated. So around that, more exposure and really getting some of these things that you're doing, like your press conferences, your podcasts, your interviews, I would love to do that as well and really expound on that to really show what's possible. I'm going to tell you a cool story that inspired that was I was watching the SFL when they were talking about the introduction, and one of the owners, I want to say it was Houston Hyenas, he was actually had a backdrop, 2 monitors with the logo on the monitors doing a press conference type, and I thought that was such a cool thing, right? Like that ability, and that's something that I'd really like to see more teams do, and it's something that I respect highly about you of doing this podcast, doing the YouTube videos, and I even saw you did a press conference, and I thought those are really neat things for us to connect to a bigger audience and show the possibilities of what the future can hold.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad that I've inspired somebody to do something, you know. This was my first time actually doing a podcast, period. When I started the league, I was afraid. I didn't know what I was going to talk about, but I did know that I wanted to do something for the league and kind of promote it. So this was kind of my way of doing that, and I definitely feel the love from everybody, and I thank you so much, you know, for your compliment as well. And I'm just going to try to keep it going, you know, because I think it's more so to get to know the people of the community and get that backstory on those players, get the backstory of the GMs and the owners and things like that, because you deal with these people on one level on Discord, you know, you're talking and texting, but you may not know what they sound like. You may not have heard their voice, you know, you may not have had that call, so whatever. But yeah, it's an amazing experience to be able to meet everybody and talk to everybody. So I'm truly grateful. I'm glad that y'all take the time out to even entertain this, you know. So.
No, I'm gonna tell you, the platform that you created for everybody, I think is huge. And like I said, it inspired me, and it definitely made me see that, you know, again, I want everybody to get to know me. I know when the announcement came out, a lot of folks didn't know who I was, right? They're like, Nelson Lonzano, who's this guy, right? But I want to share it to the community and to the league to understand that, you know, there is a reason why I'm here, and I put in the time and the effort just like anybody else. I may not know everything, the ins and outs that some of the veterans may know, but trust me, I will be very diligent in the work that I have done. And some of the announcements that we made, I know have made some headlines for some folks, us being a new team. But I want folks to understand it's just the due diligence, it's the will and the intent and the perseverance that I try to have. I really try to push grit, you know, really pushing through when times are hard and then dealing with adversity. And you know, I don't have that reputation that some of these other organizations have been able to, you know, really excel in and really show. But I want to show a lot of people that, again, this organization has values and morals, and it has a foundation, and we want to build on that foundation and be here for years to come, and really share who I am. You know, I think that's the interesting thing. I'm the mysterious one because nobody knows who I am, but I'm an open book. I don't let nothing, the title, ever change who I am, because that's where I find my most success in my personal life as well as this life here, right? By me being able to be who I am and meet somebody like Jacob, I was given an opportunity to really shine, and I'm going to take advantage of that opportunity and make everybody proud. So, yeah, just wanted to share that.
Well, I'm glad you did, and I'm telling you, if they didn't know who you were then, they definitely know you today. So
I got to pay some respect to you for allowing me that opportunity. So thank you again.
Anytime, man. Anytime. And this actually ends the podcast, and what I like to do for all my guests is to give you the last word. So that can be a shout out, that could be a poem, but I definitely want to invite you to come back on the show anytime you want to. You can bring Jacob with you, so it'll be interesting to have the owner GM kind of aspect of everything, but it was definitely a pleasure having you. And right now, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Look, again, I do want to just say thank you again for allowing that opportunity. It does mean a lot, and continue what you're doing and being that positive light, because honestly, it does shine through, especially in these challenging times that we're in at the moment. and trust me, you will see more of myself, Jacob, Mel Davis, as well as Chuck Cook. We are all planning to try to get ourselves not just out there, but allow people to understand that we are people just like them, and we have the drive and perseverance, and our experience might not be the same as others may think, but trust me, we have meetings almost every day, conversations every day, text messages every day, and the communication is really key, and we really ensure that everybody understands that any person who has talked to us as an organization sees how much of aligned we are, and that's what I want to share with people, right? That alignment amongst my organization that we've created and really fostered and built has been amazing. And I've spoken with a lot of rookies because I've been in their shoes, and I understand how it feels coming into a brand new league, not knowing anybody, and really trying to make a way, but not knowing that path. And by the blessings that I have, and I always think everything happens for a reason, I was able to create my own path and be able to share that light. And when I speak to a rookie, I give them the same respect as I do if I speak to a vet. And because I'm a person who if you want respect, you got to give respect. And I understand the concept. Not everybody deserves respect, but everybody deserves to be treated as a human being, and everybody deserves to be listened to and understood. And honestly, that's the big thing I want to let everybody know. Again, if anybody ever wants to contact me, they're more than welcome to. I always try to respond as quickly as I can, right? There's life that happens, and I do have to manage a $25 million business.
Okay, you look. Please concentrate on that.
I have to, and I'm an essential worker as well, so I got to serve the community that I'm in. But honestly, I do try to give my time and dedicate my time to everybody. But the number one person I have to give thanks to again is Jacob for allowing me the opportunity and the rest of my staff. And also want to give a shout out to my wife because she supports me in my dreams and aspirations. And
that's beautiful.
I told her I was blessed enough to have an interview with you. She said, "Congratulations, my love. You deserve it." And again, I want to tell you that that's my number one supporter, and I do want to give her a little shout out because I think she definitely deserves it for all the time that I'm on the calls. I'm on Discord with rookies. I'm on calls with Jacob, Mel, and Chuck, and with the rest of our staff. John, our new running back, Matt, our new quarterback, and then we just signed Amon Tate.
I know. I'm like, how the heck?
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't he just retired? And y'all just going to raise him from the dead like that? That's awesome. Now, Amon is a really good dude. Y'all, you got a really good steal on that one, cause
yeah. He's a great guy, great. And these three men so far really build that foundation for us. And I think, again, for them believing in our organization, our vision, is really huge. People who believe in our vision, I'd love to have them. And we really want to have people understand we are going to focus on their development. We've already done one-on-one calls with them. And it's not just Jacob and their direct coach, right? It's me being on the calls. It's our other coaches who have nothing to do with them, but we still want to show them the alignment that we have as an organization and really focusing on their development. Like I said, my goal is to have player retention. And again, grow people and have them have that investment in the organization. So when they're out there, either in the chats or out and about, they can really represent our organization positively. Right. And make it a destination. I really want that to be the case where people say, hey, the Portland Fleet is where I want to go. And grow and be something in this league. And again, I dabbled in every little thing here and there, so anything I can help my potential players or my future players out, I will give 110% of my time and my effort to ensure that they feel 100% supported. And I know my staff is 100% behind that as well, because they've shown that day in and day out. And if I was able to show how much we communicate on the group chat, they'll see that the hard work is really being done. So I want to thank those gentlemen who have joined us, and any potential player that joins us. I want to say thank you already in advance because that means you believe in something that is bigger than me.
Awesome, man. Love it. Looking forward to seeing you guys out there on the field and hopefully playing against you this season, okay?
I can't wait to see you on the other side of the field too, actually. I appreciate that. And again, what you've done on the field and off the field has been very big, and I respect that a lot. And continue growing and continue this podcast, because honestly, it is making a difference out there. So thank you.
You're very welcome, and I sure will. I'll see you soon.
Please.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. I really do appreciate all of you when you take the time to do that. Special thanks goes out to Mike Tinscrew, to Derrick Majors, and to Nelson Lonzano for being on the show. Really appreciate you guys. If you want to be on the show, please don't hesitate to ask me. I'd be more than happy to have you on. Just DM me or contact me somehow. We'll get it, get our schedules to match up so we can do this. It was a pleasure. I'm looking forward to bringing you another great podcast next week. But until then, y'all have a wonderful day or night. Stay well out there. Striker